A blessed day to everyone. This is Teacher Eypril. Learning English is an exciting adventure. Let's explore, let's discover, and let's learn more. Good day, everyone. Today, I will be discussing about linear and non-linear text. Information can be transmitted not only through linear presentation, meaning, sentences, and paragraphs, but also through the use of graphs, tables, and charts. In fact, some people best understand ideas if presented through graphs or pictures, while others are through written text. Thus, it is very important to know how to transcode information from linear to non-linear text and vice versa. This video lesson is made for a grade 7 student like you. It aims to help you develop such skill in an easy way. Let us read our learning competency. Transcode information from linear to non-linear text and vice versa. Our enabling objectives are the following. First, differentiate linear and non-linear text. Second, examine the data presented in a linear text and interpret the information using appropriate graphical presentation. And third, transcode information from linear to non-linear and vice versa. The question is, how will you differentiate linear from non-linear text? Let's have linear text. It is the most common type of reading. It focuses on the arrangement of words both grammatically and stylistically. Generally, text printed on paper are considered as linear text. Examples of linear text are, we have stories, letters, speeches, news reports, and etc. Now let's have non-linear text. It is an information which is presented in pictorial or diagrammatic form. Here, the readers do not have to go through the text in a sequential manner in order to make sense of the text. This kind of text will test your ability to select and report the main features, to describe and compare data, identify significance and trends in factual information, or to describe a process. It requires you to write a summary of at least 150 words in response to a particular graph. Examples of non-linear text. We have here pie graph, bar graph, and also line graph. Graph is an example of non-linear text. Question: what is graph? Graph is an example of non-linear text. It is a picture designed to express words, particularly the connection between two or more quantities. It is a kind of chart or diagram. What is line graph? It is used to record and present changes in data over a period of time. Bar graph. It works similarly to a line graph. It only differs in the use of bars of different heights to show different values. It may be presented vertically or horizontally. We also have circle graph. It is used to present proportions out of the whole. Circle graph may also be called pie graph. We also have table. It is a means of displaying data or information in rows and columns. Now, the next question is how to transcode linear to non-linear text. There are certain steps to follow in transcoding linear to non-linear text. Step 1. Read the text and main idea. Step 2. Extract necessary information for the visual presentation. Step 3. Classify information into categories. And Step 4. Make sure to use the correct nonlinear text to present the information. Let's have an example. Step 1. Read the text and identify the main idea. On saving. As a young teen, Riz does not enjoy as much as the other teenagers would. Her weekends are spent on looking for work so she can earn her allowance. She spends 200 pesos a week, 100 pesos for her lunch, 80 pesos for her fare, and 20 pesos for classroom dues. Now, what is the main idea? The text is about? Correct. Riz spends 200 pesos a week. Step 2. Extract necessary information for the visual presentation. Where does Riz spend her 200 pesos per week? The necessary information are 100 pesos for her lunch, 80 pesos for her fare, and 20 pesos for classroom dues. Step 3. Classify information into categories. We may think for a title, it can be about expenses of Riz per week, and her budget is 200 pesos. Now, let's classify the given information. We identified 100 pesos for her lunch, 80 pesos for her fare, and 20 pesos for classroom dues. Step 4. Make sure to use the correct nonlinear text to present the information. In this case, the most appropriate nonlinear text to be used is a circle graph. Very good. First, let us change the given data to percentage. 100 is what percent of 200? 80 is what percent of 200? 20 is what percent of 200? Here is our computation. 100 divided by 200 and times 100 equals 50. And since we're talking about percentage, the answer will be 50%. 80 divided by 200 times 100 equals 40 or 40%. 20 divided by 200 times 100 equals 10 or 10%. Now, let us put the data and transcode the linear text to nonlinear text. We will be using the circle graph. Here it is. The title is Riz Expenses per Week. Riz spent 50% of her allowance for her lunch, 40% of her allowance for her fare, and 10% for her allowance for classroom dues. Do you understand? Let's try another one. Riz earns more than what she needs for the week. On Saturdays, her routine would be to go to a distant relative and wash clothes for a small earning of 100 pesos. In the afternoon, she volunteers weeding at a neighbor's garden for an hour and gratefully receives 50 pesos for the work extended. On Sunday after lunch, she would iron out her teacher's uniform for a fee of 100 pesos. Despite her weekend routine, she remains to be one of the smartest in class. Now, I want you to transcode this linear text to nonlinear text. If you follow the 4 steps in transcoding linear to nonlinear text, this will be your possible answer. The title will be Riz Earnings during weekend. Here, we're going to use bar graph. The data shows that in washing clothes, Riz earns 100 pesos. In wedding, Riz earns 50 pesos. And for ironing her teacher's uniform, Riz earns 100 pesos. Now, let's have the steps in transcoding nonlinear to linear text. Step 1. Interpret the data presented in the graph. Step 2. Write an overview or main idea. Create a scenario. Step 3. Write the key features and enumerate the data in linear text. Step 4. Describe the given graph by using appropriate words or phrases. Let's perform steps 1 and 2. Here, we have the data presented using the circle graph. Our interpretation may be, the graph shows different activities and the percentage of hours spent in doing each task. Now, we have to write an overview or main idea, or you may create a scenario. Let's have a name, a person whom we are going to talk about in this data. Main idea. Rico spends 10 hours a day doing the following activities shown in the pie graph. It's up to you if how many hours are you going to use. In this example, I prefer 10 hours. To get the number of hours spent in each activity, multiply the total number of hours by the given percent. First, let us change the given percent to decimal numbers. 10 hours times 0.30 equals 3 hours. 10 hours times 0.35 equals 3.5 hours or 3.5 hours. 10 hours times 0.10 equals 1 hour. 10 hours times 0.20 equals 2 hours. And 10 hours times 0.05 equals half hour. Total is 10 hours. Step 3. Write the key features and enumerate the data in linear text. Here are the key features. Rico spends 3 hours in reading books, 3.5 hours in watching TV, 1 hour in playing games, 2 hours in listening to music, and half hour in doing fitness exercises. Last step. Describe the given graph by using appropriate words or phrases. This time, you're going to transcode the nonlinear text to linear text based on the data that you gathered presented in this circle graph. After knowing the steps in transcoding linear to nonlinear text and vice versa, this time I want you to try this. The table below shows daily temperatures for New York City, recorded for 6 days in degrees Fahrenheit. I want you to present the given data using a linear text. You may now start doing it. This will be the possible answer. I hope you learned a lot today. Here are my references. Thank you for watching.